Less than a year ago, Toby Keith was honored with the BMI Icon Award at the BMI Country Awards. In a joyous celebration of Toby's life and work, his songs were covered by artists like Carrie Underwood, Eric Church, and more. But despite the festive atmosphere, something was very, very wrong. How many knew that as he gave his acceptance speech, as his songs resonated in the auditorium, Toby was on the very verge of death? Today we're diving into the heartbreaking story of Toby Keith's health. What happened to him? How did he deal with the stunning news? But most importantly, how is Toby today? Let's celebrate the life of this legendary Oklahoma Okie as we get to the bottom of what's really happening in Toby Keith's life. So if you're a fan of Toby Keith, you're not gonna wanna miss this. Before we dive in, hit the thumbs up icon to show us some support. And subscribe to our channel for more country content like this. Now you ready? Well, come on and let's go find out.
What happened?
A dark history. In many ways, Toby Keith has it all. Millions of dollars, a strong, caring family, and the admiration of fans around the globe. In fact, he is one of the wealthiest men in America, period. Richer than even Beyonce by some metrics. But if you think his trip to the top has been a breeze, well, think again. Behind his often upbeat songs and unflappable public image lies some truly dark experiences that you won't believe. In 2001, Toby's father was driving to the store when calamity struck. He lost control of his car, veered into oncoming traffic, and was killed by striking a charter bus. Just months later, another three were wounded or gone. But rather than withdrawing into bitterness and sorrow, Toby used these experiences to write perhaps his finest song. Yes, I'm talking about Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, the Angry American. At first, Toby didn't even want to put out the song. He wanted to keep it as a tribute to his father and his country. But he realized that the beautiful song could actually help others who were also struggling. Then the track became an instant classic. But while Toby was able to rise above these challenges, he was recently confronted with an utterly different challenge. One that would prove even harder to overcome. Because the angel of death had enough of attacking Toby's loved ones, it was now coming for the man himself. Diagnosis. Like I said, there were those two defining tragedies in Toby's life. His father and the attacks on the country. These two events helped shape his life and music for the next quarter century. But in 2022, Toby got some news that would change his life even more drastically. Now he wasn't even going to be able to use music to cope. He was all on his own. In June of 2022, Toby made a big announcement. He had been secretly battling stomach cancer for 6 months. Over that time, he had been receiving chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery. The cancer and the treatment took a serious toll on him. Who said the entire experience was pretty debilitating. Because of all this, Toby made a big decision. He would be stepping away from music until further notice. Now we know musicians love to fake retirement, whether it be for the headlines, to stir up the media, or just get attention. This was completely different. Toby was noticeably thinner and paler than he had ever been, just a husk of the tall, stocky man who had once commanded the stage. So where exactly does Toby go from here? Last rites. To a guy like Toby Keith, an award show isn't exactly the most exciting thing in the world. When you've got racks of plaques, scores of awards, and plays for days, one more ceremony doesn't mean all that much. But in November of 2022, when the country music world convened to appreciate Toby and his work, that night had a very different feeling than nights past. That's because there was a very big chance this special night could be one of his last. The BMI Icon Award might not be as famous as a Grammy or a CMA, but in some ways it was even more prestigious. It didn't just mean Toby had racked up so many plays or had a trendy record. It meant Toby was entering a club populated by guys like Merle Haggard, Willie Nelson, ladies like Loretta Lynn and Dolly Parton. If you remember that great night, Carrie Underwood played Should Have Been a Cowboy. Eric Church was awesome with I Love This Bar. And Toby, too, took the stage, reflecting on his many, many years in the music biz. He said, quote, "Youth is wasted on the young, and when we were young, we got wasted." It was a fitting tribute to an incredible career. But when the lights went off and the confetti swept up, everybody went home. The question still remained. What was next for Toby Keith? New life. On June 2nd, 2023, Toby hosted his annual charity golf tournament. The event, which had happened for years, would donate its proceeds to the Toby Keith Foundation, which is dedicated to providing free housing for kids with cancer. That day, he gave his first real interview since the news had come out about his diagnosis. So what did Toby say about his present and his future? Toby gave a much-needed update about his health. He did have good news. He was feeling pretty good. His health on a positive trend. However, he added that you never know with cancer, so you need to prepare for the worst. No matter what was going to happen though, Toby was adamant. He was not going to hide away and live in fear. He was going to do everything he could to get out in the world. And he shared some very good news for fans. Toby Keith was hoping to be on the road again soon, hopefully by the fall of 2023. While he wasn't positive he would have the stamina to perform like he used to, Toby said he was okay with starting slowly, playing for just a few hours and getting a break in his chemotherapy treatments. And we couldn't be more happy for him. The situation is still developing, but one thing is for sure. Toby Keith isn't about to take cancer lying down. And if anybody can beat it, it is the angry American, big dog daddy, Toby Keith. Toby Keith has been in the music industry for 62 years. But over that time, what has his legacy meant for country music? I think he's put out some of the most everlasting singles in country music history. Not to mention he has acted in Hollywood movies, collaborated with Willie Nelson, and even opened his own bar. The guy has seen more and done more than most of us will ever dream of. But at the end of the day, what do awards really mean? I mentioned the charities that Toby Keith is a part of, but to him, it's more than just a tax write-off. It's about making a difference in the lives of the people around him. And while you and I might remember Toby for the great songs he made, the great barbecues he soundtracked, there's thousands of people that will remember him as something different. A good-hearted and caring man. If Toby Keith died today, he would have more to show for his 62 years on Earth than just about anybody else. So hey, raise one up and toast Toby Keith. And get in the comments and tell us what is your favorite Toby Keith song. Are you going to get tickets if Toby tours again this fall? Have any of you actually already seen him live? How was the show? Get in the comments and tell us all things Toby Keith. While you're there, tell us who we should cover next. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up, it really helps. Subscribe to our channel and come back often so we can keep telling you what happened.